Okay, get started with the kickoff of the session. First and foremost, I think this is the slide which we show to most people. What is this saying? The slide is primarily saying is, welcome aboard Big Data Professionals, not as a training. The intent for this slide is mainly to change your mindset. Change of mindset, like I don't want you guys to be thinking more on like, I'm a trainee, I'm joining this program to learn some pieces of technology. As a trainee, our intent is for you to think that what is like almost like you get hired by a company, and the company has given you a project to do or few projects to do, and you're to take this cutting edge technology and try to do that project. And through that journey of doing that project, you'll be learning. That's the mindset which I want you guys to switch on, and that's the whole reason for that one slide, the initial slide, is talking about. And we'll guide you through the whole process, how it would happen and everything, and some of this will happen in this session. So I think this is more of a less technology and more process and getting things started. What is the best way to get most of this course, the training program, what are the different pieces. There's lots of great content, resources, and all that. So just trying to put that together. So first of all, logistics-wise, just let's get that out. The program is going to be, as you know, just to reiterate, it is 4 to 5 week program, which is weekend sessions would happen from 10 a.m. till 4, sometimes 4:30 p.m. In the classroom, in person. That's the intent, depending on which program you are, either it is a 4-week or 5-week. Weekday classes, usually it's Wednesday or Thursday in the evening, and they are from 7 to 8:30, this kind of a session right now, and they are mostly WebEx because of the travel reasons. Traffic is pretty crazy to be here for 1.5 hour session. We don't want you to drive for 2 hours. So that's mostly online, and that's worked pretty well. But if anybody has suggestions, we are open to that. That schedules what would happen during the whole day sessions. When we have the full weekend sessions, it will be one of the weekends. I'll show the detailed schedule as well after a little while, and I'll email that to everybody. There'll be lunch breaks. Lunch will be provided, either pizza or some other form of lunch will be brought in on the weekends. So that's will be in class here. We'll keep on taking breaks and things like that during the sessions, because the whole day is quite a lot to take in. That's kind of the agenda. Most of the modules will have labs and projects. There are few pre-work things which we definitely want you to do. Is the first and foremost is the installation of the Cloudera VM, the virtual box and things like that. So before even the training starts, each person is expected to have the installation done. You need to have an 8 GB RAM machine available for you to be able to do that. So that's kind of a must-have. So those are some logistics items. With that, I think most of the people in the batch know me through the bootcamp or some other format they have discussed with me, but just a formal introduction. My full name is Raju Srivastava. I'm the co-founder and chief architect for Big Data Trunk. Overall 18 plus years of experience. All of that data, we as a company do big data training consulting. If you would like to, please connect with me on LinkedIn. Put my name and you'll find me, and you can connect with me. So that's 2 sessions. In terms of modules, these are the modules which are going to be covered for the analyst group. There is a whole this set of modules, and each of the modules you see there are labs, and then there is project work. The way we want to format them, even if the project work is showing in the end, it's just for the reasons of putting it together in the slide. But the way to do it, some of these will be foundational. They don't relate to the project directly, but are doing the main things, the actual things. What would happen, let's say, for example, Hive is a module. We will teach you the concepts. There will be sessions happening. We'll do a lab exercise on Hive, and then you'll be doing Hive portion of the project. So you have that process. Step 1 is the concepts. Step 2 is the labs, and then step 3 is the part of the project. So you'll keep coming back to the project back and forth. as we go through that. And the intent is like, once you have completed everything, then probably the project is over. You would have already done the project work. That's kind of the thing. By doing that project, that was the theory concept which we were trying to emphasize. In terms of developers, also there are similar set of modules. I mean, as I said, like they both start together, and we'll see that in the schedule perspective as well. All these modules are common. And then things start changing from year. This half of it, if you would say, and the projects are different, and things like start changing for each of the groups. So they sit together for certain sessions, and then they separate out. That's the way they be informing. So we have kind of put together. Everybody knows there is one weekend session the whole day, and then there is a week session. But we'll be thinking about the next session. Today is this, and next time what is that, or 2 sessions from now, so that you are aware. We will be sending a detailed schedule right now. I will show that and walk you through that, and then we'll be emailing that as well. Now, what does red color things mean? So what has happened over a period of time, our training program has evolved as per the industry. The industry is changing. Got added 2 years back when we started trainings. Spark was not there. There was nothing as such Spark in our whole program, zero. We obviously saw the market as changing, in industry is evolving. Spark became a prominent part. But adding too many things, some things had to go, had to be reduced, and that's why what we ended up doing is some of these sessions, which are more administrator roles, Uzi, Zookeeper, and things like that, we the LMS, but we are not putting too much emphasis during the sessions or dedicated sessions for that. And people understand. I mean, right now, meeting is going away. I'm missing some sessions. Trust me, when 2 weeks or 3 weeks are there, you'll be thanking me like, yeah, please, good that you did that. Why don't you take some more off and keep a laser focused thing into that. So bringing those content perspectives up. This is overall approach. Now, to approach this, there are several pieces which we are going to tackle. First of all, books. Books are going to be very, very important. And if you haven't noticed, in our LMS, there are soft copies of 2 books or more books, actually minimum 2 books, which will be focusing in there. And they are pretty good books, both are around $30-40 worth of books. And we are going to focus on that. You are expected to read those chapters and topics as we go through it. Every day when the session gets over, I send something called a prescription in my mind. I send a homework basically, and it says read chapter number 2 from the book, do lab number 3B, read this, watch this video. A step-by-step structured instructions are there, which you can help you to go through that. So books will be an important part. LMS will be a very important part. We'll be going through the LMS after this session or the slides. We'll be walking through the LMS and seeing what all content, great amount of content and material is available. So we want to watch that and see that so that you get familiar. It's so much that people sometimes don't even know. That's why this kind of session or talking is important. So we'll walk through that. Is like this. Other resources. There are other sites, other YouTube channels, and things like that. This data world is just changing and evolving so fast. If you have to go to Cloudera site every day, go to YouTube and try to find information, that's going to be too much. I think you will be spending lots of time and spinning around the wheel. So we need to change the model. So what we have done, we have created a very dedicated way, a very structured way, where the information is coming to you and you don't have to go to the information. In fact, what we have done, I suppose everybody has a LinkedIn account, and if you're not, you need to create one. And then there are companies which you can follow and groups which you can follow. In our LMS, there is a whole list, and I will walk you through that. You have to just click those, and all of that information, once you have done that, it starts coming into your feed, the news feed which is coming to your LinkedIn. It does 2 things. Number, information about any change or big things happening in the big data world directly to you. Number 2, starts changing your profile because you're connected to several groups, several companies, and not seeming more like a big data professional or Hadoop professional from that way as well. So it helps in multiple folds. So that's our third thing which we do. Final step is taking the action. And here's what we have a lot of emphasis. We should be going through that. So one by one. So teams, we'll be forming teams, and that's why we like people in the training batch. Like we are 10, 12, 15. Last batch we had 16. 4 teams of 4 people, and that's really the magic. Where people come together, work together. So first day when we are here, we'll be forming the teams. We'll create team A, team B, C, and there is competition throughout the journey of this whole thing. And in the end, we will be declaring the winning team. This is the reason I say, because once you have formed a team, there is something magical which brings people together. They make you motivated to do things not only for yourself but for your team, and help each other out as well. I'm also going to check out, and then maybe apart from the team, I might just kind of create, this came out of the last thing I think that popped into my head. Maybe the team is like a little 4 people, still people are far away, but I think having a buddy system, like one person is connected to form buddies, so that you can call him like without even much problem or something, and work together, sit together, do things like that. So we will try that model in this batch. So that's one thing. Job questionnaire. So there is a questionnaire for you to be filled out, which was sent as part of the email which you got, or there will be other emails which I'll send, and you just fill up details, a form, Google form, where you fill out information which helps us to start thinking about your requirements, your needs for job perspective. These are all the other things: resume preparation, certification. So there are several things to help you take actions in different forms and shades. Because stand out, there are a lot of demand in big data world, but at the same time there are many people who are getting in this technology as well. So how do we stand out? So we will try you to do all of these other things which will help you to stand out, right? Writing blogs, joining some meetup groups and things like that. So let me pause there and let's take some questions. Recording. So now each of those points are a little more detailed. So books. In the LMS we have several books, and especially these 2 books. The book Hadoop Definitive Guide, which is the 400-500 pages book. It's a thick, long, huge book. But we have in the LMS, you can download and put on your iPad or whichever device you want, and you can continue reading it. The Spark side, we have Learning Spark as the second book. Because we will be going to, as we go through the curriculum, we will be needing to go through these books. It's a very important thing, going to the book, really understanding the details and part of it. That's why we have that. So you will be asked to read that. And you'll be scored, your team will be scored based on that. We will be doing scoring points and all that thing. I'll show that sheet from the last batch as well, so that you have a sense of that. That's about books. The second one was, I said, like getting the information to come to you. Here is a snippet of an example of companies. Let's say you start following companies like Mapr and Cloudera and Amazon Web Services, Databricks. Now what happens, they post any news or information, it comes directly to you. There are various good groups created already on LinkedIn, kind of Cloudera Hadoop users or big data analyst members, all that, and see a huge number of people have joined it. What we have done in the LMS, which I'll show in a bit, a whole list of things like that. In fact, why don't I switch back and forth a little bit, because I'm already in the LMS. So once you get into the LMS, I hope everybody has got access to the LMS already.
Yes.
I'm going to mute people. Questions, you can unmute yourself. This is the LMS. I'm just logged into the LMS, and I'll just go to point to specific things, and then we'll do a detailed walkthrough again for remaining things. Say I go to this, what I was just talking about, LinkedIn companies and groups. So this is a page. So I went to the navigation for the first time, LinkedIn companies and group. This is a whole list of companies groups. So what we are expecting you to just go to make it life much easier for you. Just right click on it, and then there is a link on the LinkedIn, and just hopefully first time you log in, and it's automatically, and I'm logged in already, and just click become a member. I'm already a member. Become a member. So by doing this, automatically over a period of time, you have surrounded yourself with wealth of information about big data and these companies, these groups. So that's the purpose. We have made it live for you, and you can go through it. You will not be able to do all of them in a single day, because we realized, or people told us, like LinkedIn has some limits. So you'll have to space it between 2-3 days or 4 days, do few and then come back next day, that kind of thing. So that's one we have done. The second thing is what we want you to do is meetups. I don't know if you guys are going to meetups or not. There is so meetup is so if you have to talk, please unmute. So some people attend meetup. So meetup.com is a site where you can go to free meetups. Like it's almost free and with lunch sometimes, and on top of that and everything. So we have a meetup group ourselves called Big Data and IoT 101. And there are many groups like that. What we want you, as part of the first week's homework, that you create a meetup account and also go to one meetup, like local meetup, Fremont or San Francisco or something, and find a topic. There are tons of good topics. We live in Bay Area. There are enormous number of good topics. So attending that would help, and it will start the first time you do it, then you become more comfortable and you can participate in several of these groups, because tons of good information, network, jobs come through these networks and channels as well. It's all about networking. So that's another avenue, and more to be providing you. These are few points which the LMS effectively and what all things to do. Those are getting will covered in things while we do other pieces. So there is work to be done before that. We took a note of that and understood that it's expected, and things have to be done before, because some people are like, oh, I didn't know that. You have to do all this pre-work before. All this is mentioned in the LMS, in the confirmation email, and several other places. So you have expected to watch some videos. If you have attended one of our boot camps already, you don't need to. You can again watch it to refresh your information, but that's number one thing. Pre-work A, the VirtualBox installation in Cloudera. And this has to be done on a machine which has 8 GB RAM, otherwise it won't work. It will get installed, but it will not run. So that's to be done. Most of the people did not have any difficulty doing that for the last 2-3 batches. I think we have put a video and a document in the LMS, and after that, no questions. Previously, a lot of questions used to come. Questions come, and these are all part of the LMS, right? These pre-works, pre-work 0, pre-work A, B, 2, C, also on that. So I'm just going in this. It has for installation. So there is a video and there is this document. You can right click and step-by-step instructions. You'll see everything what we document is very step-by-step, screenshot by screenshot, click, go here, go there. So we are expected to this download and follow this. People sometimes have difficulty is that the link does not work, this link which we have provided, because Cloudera keeps on changing their versions, and this link will not work. So what you may have to do is like go to the Cloudera site and take the latest. It is 5.4, 5.5 right now. So you may want to go to the latest version and download that. The other problem, common problem people have, as GB RAM is must have. The other thing is some of the machines have virtualization setting, which is not done. So you have to go in the BIOS and do that. So that's another problem which we have. Apart from that, I haven't seen you have not seen lately, but just throwing that out in case you have difficulties. But this is definitely expected before the training starts. So follow those documents, those videos, and do that. Which programming language? So that is a choice which you have to make. One of the skills and language, whether it is Java, Scala, or Python, especially for the developer group. The analyst group also needs a little bit of that, or especially at least Python they need it, would be very valuable for them. So what we have done in our LMS, we have put all these videos, pre-work Bs, which is Java, Scala, or Python. Now, a lot of people ask questions, how do I choose? So if you are coming from a Java background, you can continue Java and just be fine with that. Java background, but they still want to add another language. They gravitate towards Scala often after that. And Scala is good because Spark is written in Scala. And that's why if more and more Spark is being used, Scala becomes pretty powerful. So that's why that's another choice. If you programming background or a little bit of they have programming background, they don't know Java, then Python is going to be your friend. It's much English kind of a language, and you might want to approach that. For each of them, we have series of videos, which we have some of them created, some of them we have leveraged good videos from their sites and net. You can go and look for other ones as well. So that's what is expected out of it. There is knowledge of shell scripting, basic knowledge of Unix commands. You don't have to be a super duper expert in Unix, but it's like basic commands, 15-20 commands, which we have listed in this lab. That's what we are expected to go through it and understand it and perform it as well. So those are some of the more GitHub. So we want you to learn and review Git and GitHub, because Git is a management, a source code management system, very widely used, especially in the Bay Area and many startup companies or tech companies these days. So having that is expected. There are videos around that as well. So it's going to be nice to have. These are nice to have, not and builds up your skills and creating a free account there. This is the link of the job questionnaire which I was talking about. Maybe we'll just add that link in here itself so that you have it. That's a good idea. I think we'll just put it there itself. Otherwise, it comes through emails. But this is primarily a form, a simple form, which allows you to give your preferences, basically. Okay. So that link is giving some problem. I'll check, but it's a Google form which tells about which batch you joined, what you did, what you're looking for. Are you looking for only in the Bay Area? What are your requirements and things like that? Are you interested in mentorship, and are you looking for a job? First of all that things, it just puts a 10-12 questions, 5 minutes, you should be done. So do that as much as you can. So now we will go to the LMS and deep dive with that. But before that, any questions? This is the LMS. The LMS is a ton of information and resources available in a centralized place, using a lot of the LMS contents. Understand what kind of contents are present in the LMS. Kind of contents, then called as summary notes. Summary note is more like a cliff note or a very condensed format of any, if you would say, like a 50-page book is converted into 5-10 pages. Let's say this one. And if we go through this, reading through this quick 2-3 page thing will give you the crisp summary of what we have learned when we learn. So that's one resource which you may want to quickly read through it and get it. We still encourage you to read the whole book or the chapter in that book, but this could be additional. You can read 2-3 times or repeat it many times. You can't repeat the book multiple times. And this is an example of the homework core call will come every day. So let's say today we did a Hive session. When you go home or something within hours of the session completion, you will get an email from me based on this is the homework, and the homework will be something like this. For HDFS, we'll have read the summary notes, which is this document. Perform lab 3A. So there is a lab 3A. Perform lab 3B. That's another one. Watch the recording. Means this is kind of the recording which will the session recording, or sometimes some other recording, some other interesting related video. So watch that. And this is the other piece. Read the book. Read the particular chapter from this book. Comic. There is a comic. Some contents have comics, some contents don't have. So there is a nice comic written by somebody else. So we leverage that, but it's a very fun, interesting comic to understand HDFS. How does it work? I don't want to put. So this is like a literal comic book that is there. So this is the kind of contents which you have in the LMS. Every module is very similar. It has steps, or the prescription, which I call homework, you can call, and then it has all these labs, reading material, videos, everything one after the other. So type of contents. Sometimes there are cheat sheets which has list of commands which you can have for your references printed out, have it ready. We also have apps. We have which gives for testings and things like that. I'm just thinking, where's that link? Yeah. Link. Apps. So this is from us. Those are questions or practice questions if you wanted to do that. So we have apps which are available here. Flash quiz exam apps. What is much more extensive for certification, but that also is about answering set of questions, whether it is actual questions or multiple choice, and depending on which program or the training certification you are doing, it will be different. That's why we want to talk a session on certification, not right now. But of contents in the LMS. Next is the walkthrough. So let's go through the walkthrough. We are already done parts of it, but let me go from the top to down. I have a whole set of pre-work, as I said, 0 to F, it should be now, after we add the job. So there is all this. EQ from for 7, 8 hours to, depending on how deep you want to go in each of them, a few days also. So I think give yourself some time to really do that. The more you do this, the better you will be prepared for training, because this is the level setting. What happens is, like, there are people in the batch who are super duper expert in Unix, and there's somebody who has never seen a Unix screen, always drag and drop. So that becomes a challenge for us and everybody. So that's why it's very good opportunity that you help yourself to a little bit through this. You through the modules. I did TFS. The format for all the modules is very similar. Let's click for the heck of on one. This the same format. Steps are given, books, things like that. Labs. What we have has two parts. Always there is a lab and there is a solution to the lab. So let's say first open the lab. I'll be a file which will explain you the problem and do things step by step methodical. Text file, and it will give you the actual commands which you can copy paste literally if you wanted. We don't encourage that, but at least sometimes it becomes too much of typos and things like that, and so much people struggle with that. So we have the solution for the labs available. How each lab is structured, more labs, and there are videos, similar format, lots of videos. Interview questions. I don't want interview questions from here because I think our website has much better set of interview questions. Right. Up to that. So questions I would suggest to refer here. Go to our website, resources, interview questions. On the website. Meanwhile, I'll continue. So I will not go to each module by module because the structure and the content will deal when we go there. But each one has a very similar format. Here is the Zookeeper, Oozie we were talking about. The LMS for the analyst and the LMS for developer is different. There are two LMSs, different. Analyst and developer, it is different. Somebody who has joined a combo will have access to both. And the material is different. Some modules are definitely common, which pre-work and things like that, they are all common. But some things which I might show, especially the modules like Flume, for example, it will be only in the developer one, not in the analyst. And similarly, analysts will have certain things which developers don't have. Vice versa. Doing this, but we'll come back to that interview questions later. Continue. Some cheat sheets, landscape, and it's like a set of commands. Basically, all of them compiled together into a single location makes life much easier. Right? That's a cheat sheet you want to print and have it handy with you. The most important part is the projects. So there are projects which has the projects are a little different for the analyst versus the developers. This project is common, the same project 1. We'll talk about the projects as we reach to the points. I don't want to go into right now. Once we have that, we'll talk about that. This is one project which is common. This project of Twitter, and the analysts do a different Kaggle project from a competition. And there is a recommendation project. The project is same, but the way they do it and what they do it is different. Real projects from different implementations. The middle one is not. The Kaggle project is pretty good. It's a Kaggle competition. If you know Kaggle is a site, I may just go there. Report by Google yesterday. For data science, and there are competitions which happen here, and there are money sometimes there. Times here $1 million as well, and you can literally compute and make money out of it. And just yesterday, Google published that they have bought this thing. Yes, got by Google. Bought this for they didn't say the price. I don't know. Maybe they sold, but for the Google Computing Engine Group, GC, they bought this, and it's part of Umbrella. I'm surprised that there is no what on this. But I know for sure that has been done. They have some period of cool off or things like that. That's why it maybe not, but it's them. So they have that project, which is very good. I just saw there sometimes $1 million competitions and things like that. Usually $1 million is rare, but there seems to be one right now. Usually it's 25,000 to 100 or something. And there are some which are just for jobs. If you do this, you get a job. Some for just bragging rights or putting like I have this. Yeah, some pretty pointed out. Yes, buys this. That's a new development, which is good. The projects. I mean, each project has the explanation of what it is, what is expected, and this is what we'll be doing. When we start doing the modules, we'll be coming back to the projects and say, we are doing this. It's a huge project. It has end-to-end everything. Content will be here, the actual process, the data files, the solutions are provided, lots of details, and we'll do as we progress. pieces of it, and we'll do that. So that's interview preparation. I was going to show you this because on our websites for every module we have 50 plus questions or up to all these interview questions and answers which we have posted there. This one is a good one. Books. So as I was saying, there are a couple of books which we have the soft copy, which is this one. I'm not going to click on this. It's a huge book. It takes a little while. There were two books which I was talking, and we'll point to you. Read this chapter from this book, and there's not every time which is there. It will be there. Some books we don't have it. This is more if you want to have additional books, you can buy that. Other books and some of the interesting videos and background things, which is this is the great video, the secret rules of. It's a good watch when you are having dinner or some break time. It's a very interesting video about how algorithms work. Watch it now when there's no background needed for that. This is how Google and all general algorithms. You can sit with your kids and watch. It's a fun video, an hour worth of video, especially 10 plus age kids would love it. Layman which explains. So those are books are available. You'll expect it to read. You can start reading if you want. So our YouTube has tons of good videos. You should subscribe to that if you can. There is lots of videos there as well. We have lots of videos. That may be another good resource. Certification prep, like all the material behind is there. Some is more better when we talk it, and that's why I was saying. So we'll have dedicated session for that. Don't worry about that right now. Things, all these modules and things like that. Okay, so that's about the LMS walkthrough. Let me the LMS part. We will briefly talk about the mentorship. We'll repeat this a little bit on the first day and go a little more deeper. Right now, I'm not going into much deep on mentorship. So that's an add-on program. This program has come up very now in the last few batches, and we've got a lot of rigor in that. I'm very proud and feeling very good about this program, the way it is shaping, and the students are feeling. So what happens in this program, this is especially for job seekers, and these are the things which we try to do. Apart from the training is just one piece. This training is a little different training we are talking about, or more enhanced training on several other things apart from just the training, technical training. These things, projects they do, more certifications, rigor they do. We have the simulations for them, when interview readiness, mock interviews happen, and all that, job placements and support, and all this happens. And that's the kind of a structure which we have, like around 2 months actually. Of program, and these are the two ways to get in. Either you have a 1-year commitment and you want to work with us, or for a year, or if you cannot give a commitment, you can pay $1,200 and take this as a service. All of that. And here is, I'm not going to read through this, but here is in fact even subset of what happens during the program 2 months after during this program. And this is all about not just technical. We literally do whiteboard presentations and practicing that, and people are given feedback, they are recorded, they have told presentation skills are improved, how to present in a crowd, whether it's panel interviews, mock-up interviews, behavioral interviews. Amazing. I think people have been like, wow, I have not got such kind of things in my life after even working 20, 15 years that. So all of that happens to this 2 months of program, but it's all geared towards one goal. That goal is to get your job and make you successful in that job. That's the whole purpose of that. I think this this mentorship program goes beyond and above just your technical and next job, because the skills which, especially in the personal front, which you get, are much lifelong skills. how to give interview, how to tackle behavioral interviews. A lot of interpersonal skills comes. How to tell me about yourself. People literally right there and there. And there is a lot of that kind of things which happens, which are going to stay with you for life. Spark will go, Hadoop will go, but these things are going to stay. So I think that's a huge value. We'll talk about that as we go forward. On the first day, we'll talk more. In fact, there is in the LMS itself, I think, as part of this bootcamp 0, there is a video. If somebody is more curious about this, they can go in and watch this video. It is a kickoff video for the mentorship program and explains like what actually does. In fact, this video may be a little old also, and I think there is much more which is getting there right now, and it's very, very powerful. Each of these videos have a password. That's an important thing because some people keep on asking that. So that is Trunket. So once you do that, you'll be able to watch this video. This is a 27-minute video talking about mentorship, what it does, what all this more has been added. So I would suggest if somebody has, I can answer some questions, but if somebody is very curious and wants to jumpstart and think about mentorship, this may be a video to watch. We will be talking about some of it on the first day so that you get insights to it. Our plan would be like mentorship would start from the second week of the training, because it has to be done with the training. While you are learning a topic, we will interview and mock interview you and things like that. So it starts during the training and it goes after the training, continues much after the training. So that's kind of about mentorship. With that, I think I can take any questions and conclude the session for today. Primarily, as I said, the whole purpose is to make you start using the time before the training. That's the whole intent of this session.